Today, I want to talk about sustaining rather than growing/expanding. Yeah, let's go with that. Welcome to the Up in My Business podcast with me, Lex Lancaster, where you'll get an inside look at all things tech, business, and my life as a physical therapist turned digital operations expert. You'll hear all about my lessons as a business owner, the ins and outs of tech for your business, and more. From SEO, websites, and email marketing to automations, launches, and copywriting, I've got you. I'm so excited you're here. Let's dive in. This episode is brought to you by Jane, a clinic management software built to help you focus on what matters most, your patients. Building rapport with your patients is important during appointments, and that can be challenging when you're also trying to take timely and detailed documentation. That's why Jane built AI Scribe to help you document important information without the manual note-taking. This feature transforms your sessions, seriously, it's amazing, into chart entries, and all you have to do is review your notes, sign the chart, and you're done. And since security is a top priority at Jane, seriously, it is so important to them. AI Scribe was built securely in-house to be fully HIPAA and PIP EDA compliant. With a tool you can trust, Jane helps you spend more time on patient care. To learn more about how Jane can help change how you feel about documentation, head to meet.jane.app/documentation to book a demo or sign up. And if you're ready to go, don't forget to use my code LEX1MO for a 1-month grace period on your new Jane account. And if you're curious about AI Scribe, I highly recommend you go ahead and take a demo with Jane because I saw it in action and it is incredible. Absolutely incredible. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Up in My Business. I am recording this after thinking about it for a couple of days, just deciding if I wanted to actually talk about this or not, just because it's not technically in my zone of coaching, but it's something that I see pretty often because of the services that I offer. So excited to talk about that today, as far as like sustaining rather than growing and expanding. And just some things that I have, or thoughts I have around that specific, I'm going to say line of thought. Before I jump in, just quick personal business updates, personal stuff. It's the new year. Shantae's birthday was so fun. We hung out all day at home because that's what she wanted to do. It's what she would prefer to do. The weather wasn't great, so we didn't go to the beach, but everything else panned out lovely. I got her a DJ, controller is what it's called. Now, in my mind, I talked to a DJ and one of her DJ friends. And so we went back and forth and I was like, hey, this is what I'm thinking. What do you think? And she basically confirmed all of my suspicions. The only thing I didn't get yet, so we're waiting to figure out which one she wants, have to get her some speakers. So I don't know the first thing about that stuff, but in my mind, I assume she could use the ones that she already has for her guitar, because she has 2 of them. And I was like, oh, well, that'll work perfectly because they have bass, they have whatever else sound output. But that's not true. So she has to get speakers. So I'm going to have her pick out the one she wants. She's big on like the research of the things. So she's going to do that. And then we'll get her squared away for the DJing stuff. I also got her a lava lamp. I got her a book of these puzzles that she has been just like loving. And what else did I get her? I got her the carrying case for and I got her socks with Rupert and Moose's face on them. So they were cute. But yeah, it was a great day. We had a volleyball party, quote unquote, today, celebration. We always do champagne and orange juice. So just mimosas after class. So we did that today. And 2 of our friends, Tammy and Diana, brought the goods. And donuts. They basically were like, let us handle it. So that was really nice of them. Shantae and I make a point, and Diana as well, we make a point to bring goodies for birthdays when they're, during our class or, outside of our class. And then we celebrate during class. And they were so kind to say, let us handle it. And excuse my yawn. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on, but it's 7 p.m. and I'm recording and it's Saturday night and I guess I might be a little bit tired. We did cleaning today, cleaning of the house today. It was a good day. Good weekend. Everything is going great as far as like, let's just say, the year so far. I recognize it's only the third, but I'm like the vacation that I took, it's panning out very, very great. Now, the thing is, I looked at my schedule, and I was like, oh my God, it's already the first week of January. What the heck? Like, where did time go? So taking 3 weeks off was great, but I'm already like, what? It went that fast? Because I have this week, and then I am back in the grind on the third week of January. So third week of January. Technically, it's the second week. I'm looking at my calendar right now, which I'm so blessed to be able to take that much time off. So I'm not saying this from an ungrateful place. I just feel like time always goes so fast. And that's true for anything. Business-wise, I shouldn't even say business-wise. I bought a 5-year journal. So I'm committing to writing a couple lines a day, like I had mentioned, because my word is nourish. And part of my nourish word does go into my business related things. I edited my entire service brochure, and I'm currently working on my entire website reflecting all of my services and reflecting them accurately. I'm working on that now. I have built and edited over 15 pages on my website so far. And I'm like, how did time goes by so fast? And like, that's probably why it was. But it's going really well, and I'm very happy about it, because now it's just like when everything reflects everything. And I did raise my package prices. I put together 2 services that I was offering. So I was offering a service separate from another, and it just didn't make sense anymore to do it that way. So I consolidated my packages, and I'm feeling really good about it. I think it was time to consolidate things and to increase the prices of certain things. And, the demand is there, and I'm very, very grateful for it. And I don't have an unlimited capacity, and it's a champagne problem. I understand that, but I'm sure everyone has gotten to a point where it's like, I have a wait list, and, I also don't want to add other stuff onto my schedule. The way that I have my schedule set up right now is really good, and I enjoy it, and I love who I work with. So I had mentioned previously, I won't go into my business coaching, investment. I think there's no point in talking about the shit show that was. But what I will say is, whenever I talk or I look at, other business coaching stuff, or people, I will say, like, I don't want to say groups, but the only advice that I've ever seen is just raise your prices, because I'm a website designer, quote unquote, and I could be charging $15,000 for my $5,000 package or my $3,000 package now. And in my head, I'm just like, I don't want to. I genuinely don't want to, and I never have. And it's something that doesn't feel aligned for me. Just because I can doesn't mean I want to or should in my mind. I don't love should either, but I am at a place where I do not feel any sort of way about my prices. I feel like I am in a great spot, and I feel very confident that I can over deliver on everything. And some folks will see that as like that means you're not charging enough. And, to be honest with you, cool. Like I feel like everybody has their opinions in that, but at the end of the day, you have to think about how you feel on your end of the deal. And I'm just really happy and grateful, and I love the work that I get to do, and I love the people that I work with. I do think, I started my business working with the newer entrepreneur, and at this point I'm working with a lot of very seasoned folks as well, but I don't want to cut out my new clinic owners. I think that's just not something I'm interested in doing. And so being able to offer packages that suit both people, I'm really excited about it. And I'm really excited for my website to reflect my packages and reflect the ways to work with me, and also to reflect the new ways that you can book time with me and or get audits and etc. So I'm very, very excited about that. I think that's all the things that I want to talk about today. I am trying, quote unquote, in italics, I should say, trying to get more content publishing on Instagram. I'll say consistently. I I'm not like saying I'm going to do it every day, but there are lots of ideas I have, and I'm going to try to I got a new mic. Shantae had recommended the mini, JBL mini, not JBL, Jeepers Creepers. I can't read it from here. Anyway, it's a mini, DJI, JBL, DJI, all the abbreviations here. And so I got that mic, and so I want to use it, and I'm looking forward to creating more content, more video content. I just need to, get started, and it'll be fine. I just need to, again, get started. So we'll see how that pans out and what I decide to create there and do and what have you. Alrighty. So with all of that being said, I am going to jump into what I had planned to talk about today. Again, I think this may or may not land for some folks, and I'm putting this out there because you know how I record my podcast. I don't have this script in front of me. I'm not reading it. And I just have some opinions around messaging, or I don't even gonna say messaging. I want to put my feelings out there about certain things that are projected or taught or whatever, just because I do feel like there are other people who are feeling like me. I don't think that I'm special in this way. I know that other folks probably have thoughts related to what I am going to talk about today. And it's more or less just like a giving permission episode rather than I'm coaching you, because this is not my zone of genius. However, I have been in positions over the last couple of years where I have made decisions against what was recommended, or I guess what would be recommended in my zone of work as far as like website design, SEO, blah, blah, blah. And I think that there's so many external pressures right now, or external messaging pressures. You see it all the time and you're like always thinking, what should I be doing instead? So I'm going to stop beating around the bush here and just say what I want to say. I think there are a lot, or I believe there's a lot of messaging in the ether that pitches growth. And when we talk about growth, it's meaning like expanding. So expanding your services, expanding your clinic, expanding it beyond you, building it so big that it can be bought. And I think that those people who do that are incredible. I personally wouldn't want to do that because I don't want the mental stress or the demand or the logistical, I don't want to say nightmare, but the logistical considerations around doing that thing. So when I say I'm like, there's a lot of messaging around it, I think that is amazing. Yes, 110% do the thing. I think that is great. And the more people you can help, the more providers you can bring into your practice to practice in the way that they want to practice. Like, yes, yes, and yes. I am on the other side meaning the other side of the fence, or in a collaboration side of the fence, where I have a lot of feelings of, I just want to sustain. And when I say sustain, that doesn't mean be stagnant. Right? That's different. So when I say I just want to sustain, is I'm in a very comfortable place where I know what my enough is. And I have talked about that 1 million times. Thank you to Laura Jean for teaching me that. I know what my enough is, and I know what I want my days to feel like. And my business allows me to live that life. And if I were to take a step back and succumb to the messaging that is around me everywhere, despite what I mute on social media or who I don't follow on social media, if I were to succumb to what I see all the time, I would think that I need to hire a VA. I would think that I need to have some crazy management software like Notion or Monday or Trello or Asana. I would think I need all of that stuff. I would think that I need other people working for me. I would think that I need, maybe I'm going to say a bigger space, if you will, if I didn't work from home. I would say that I needed to make more money, or I needed to offer more services. And by doing that, I might hire out, or I'm at my max capacity with retainer clients. So I need to expand beyond myself and again, hire someone. And I do believe that if you are the person who wants that thing, who wants that, great, like go do that. I think that there are different types of people in this world who are built for the managerial, administrative role, and the team builder, and you're the leader. Like, that is amazing. And I think that those folks should really step into that. And there are folks who are also, I feel like, a lot like me, like I could step into that role, but I don't want to. I want to sustain and maintain what I have now. I don't want to grow bigger and hire people in order to do so. And again, I'm not shitting on the fact that there are people who do this incredibly well, and the coaching that exists around doing this incredibly well. I commend every single person who is that personality. We need that in this world. It's more or less just the folks who may be sitting down and saying like, oh man, like, do I need to hire? Like, I have a wait list. I am not hurting for clients. My SEO is good. I'm getting referrals from providers. Like, people are coming in from Google. As I said, SEO is good. I have some folks on Instagram, but I have a wait list of like 2 months. Like, do I need to hire someone? And I think those are very reasonable questions. And at the end of the day, hiring someone doesn't mean that you're just going to start making a bunch more money or gaining a bunch of your time back. And I'm not going to step into the coaching role of this is what it's going to look like, because I actually can only speak to hiring independent contractors, which is what I did, or an independent contractor, which is what I did in the practice that I owned. So I can't speak to having an employee, and I'm not even going to attempt that because that's not my zone of genius. But what I will say is, I have feelings around that. And I know that if I were to just look around me, I would see a lot of growth and a lot of push to grow and a lot of push to get bigger and push to add people because you have a wait list. I will be honest with you. And I'm not someone who is going to have like this curtain and not give you legitimate, I'm going to say legitimate information. I've had a wait list for my retainer service since last March. And it's multiple people on that retainer service wait list. You could say like, Lex, you're so silly. Why would you not hire someone and hire that person onto your retainer? Well, or take more retainer clients. Well, because it doesn't fit my model. Like, for me, my model is me. It's one-on-one. It's intimate. It's an ongoing service. It is just me and my business. And I love it that way. But if I were, again, like I said, to succumb to the information overload and the growth overload or growth information overload, push overload, I would say like, oh my God, like it's so, I'm going to use the word stupid. I don't love that, but it's so stupid of me to not hire. I have a wait list. Folks want to work with me. I could easily add more people if I hired someone, but it just doesn't feel like me. And it's not something that I would want. And I do think that it comes from a place of really knowing how I want things to feel like. I also feel like it comes from a place of watching other people grow. I don't think that we get a up close and personal look enough of watching other folks go through that growth. Again, some folks really freaking love it and they are stellar. They are stellar leaders. They are great at being, the employer, and I commend them. And I know that it adds a different level of stress, or it is a different beast. I think that it's more or less one of those things where either you want to do it or you don't want to do it. Or sometimes people are like, I guess I have to do it, and they do it. And this is just a message, if you will, of before you make the decision to go do that, because that is what you feel like you should do, or you see it everywhere, just understand that you genuinely don't have to do that. You don't have to. You get to decide, and the only person who has to live out that decision is realistically you. So making those decisions and deciding I'm going to do this thing because this is what I technically seem like I should do based on, I meet all of these criteria. It's probably time to hire. It's probably time to expand, or probably time to move into a bigger space. You can say, that doesn't really sound like I want to do that. I don't want that. I don't want that extra stress. I really love the way that this is going. And it's okay to just let things be easy. And Shantae used to say that to me all the time, like, let it be easy. And I do believe, like, at this point, I'm like, it's okay to just let things be easy. It's okay to let your referrals come in, to have a wait list, to, have your ongoing patient list. It's all right. Like, you don't have to be on this constant hamster wheel of like, what's next? You can just for lack of a better term, sustain. And sustain does not mean stagnate. Those are different. And I do feel, again, like if you are in the realm that I'm in, which I'm assuming you are, you can just get caught up in, should I want that for me? Should I do that for me? Does this make sense? And then potentially doing things that might not end up feeling good. And here's the thing. At any given moment, you could make the decision to grow or expand or hire or whatever, and you can then take back that decision. So it's not like it's like an end all be all. Once you make this decision, you're done. You have to do it. It's more or less just like, if you end up doing that and you try it out and you don't like it, okay, you can just reverse, right? And undo it. And will that be aggravating? Will that be difficult based on different laws and whatever else? Yes, of course. I'm not, again, not my zone of genius, but you can also change your mind and give yourself the room to change your mind, and also give yourself the room to change your mind as you start doing the thing. You might have in your brain, it's just like going to school. You only feel like you want to be an ortho PT or a sports PT. And then there are plenty of people who go to a different specialty. When you open up a clinic, your first thought might be, I want to grow this thing so big. I want to make this thing huge. And then you might get to a spot where you're like, this feels good. And it's just you, and you have your hours, your set hours, you make enough money, you see enough people, you're helping the people you want to help, and you just call it good. And so allow your brain to change to the fact like, this is actually good. I don't need to do that thing that I thought I needed to do. Because that can be really powerful to be able to change your mind and know that you can change your mind. And to then also do it, right? Now, I want to say too, because like I had said before, there are pressures to do certain things and to not do to do other things. And, having a wait list of X amount of time might mean that you need to do this other thing or hire. The other thing that I see a lot is growing into bigger spaces. And speaking from personal experience, the clinic that I co-owned, we grew out of a CrossFit box into another location. Another location was pitched to us. The rent was ridiculous. When I was a co-owner of the practice, I said absolutely not, because adding that rent to the other rent would make our rent not unaffordable, but it would make it tough to meet the patient requirements. And when I say tough, I just mean it would have made it really frustrating or hard. It would have made things harder than it needed to be. Let's just say that, harder than it needed to be. And like suddenly seeing X amount of patients was a mandatory amount. Whereas the first rent, it was so reasonable and low that it made running the business easy. So I was like, no, that's going to add an added level of stress. Like, no, thank you. That doesn't feel good. And then there was an opportunity to move into what I would call, if I had to take a step back and say, like, let's just call it, money didn't matter. Let's just say that money didn't matter. And I had all the money in the world to make whatever decision I wanted to make. And I didn't need to consider anything. A dream location. I'm talking like dream location. There was a place for the reception. There were 3 private treatment rooms. There was a big ass gym section, or an area that would be converted to a gym. And then there was a room that we were thinking about making into a recovery room. And, all information aside, because I'm not going to go into like every deep detail here, but there were some things that were pointing to the fact like I didn't want to commit to that rent, because that rent and signing that lease for that space was going to be expensive. And again, it was one of those things where it's like the opportunity was there to do this thing and it would have been great. Like, I do think there's like the space where, if you're not making decisions that scare you, you're not reaching far enough or high enough, whatever the freaking quote is. But I also will say that your goals, it's like your goals don't scare you. You don't have big enough goals. Like, honestly, I also feel like there is a lot of comfort in predictability and ease. So knowing yourself and knowing the risk tolerance that you're willing to have, and also just understanding the grind that you're going to be committing to, I think that we just need to take a moment to sit with that before we say, oh, I'm going to go to the next step and do this. And I'm not saying don't grow. I'm not saying don't do things. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that every person really needs to sit down and think about what they actually want out of their life. What do you want out of your business? What do you want out of treatment time? And what do you want out of the money that you make? Because if you don't know that, and if you're not solid in that, it can feel like a constant push to either grow, expand, or you can feel in your body like you're not doing enough or you're missing something. And that's a really tough place to be in. And I'm speaking about that as someone who has been through it, and I still find myself in that space at times. I find myself there. I'm like, oh man, like, should I grow? And then I come back to it and I'm like, no, that's not what I want. That has never been what I wanted. And it wouldn't feel good for me. I don't want to manage other people. That's not something I want to do. And at the end of the day, you can say, are you losing money, or are you not making enough money, or making as much money as you could make? If we really want to talk about what it comes down to, or helping more people, whatever. Yeah, like you're absolutely not. But at the end of the day, if you're okay with how your business runs and how you feel every single day and the money that you're making and able to do the things you want to do, then I would argue you're in a great place. There's no pressure to expand beyond you. But anyway, that's really all I have. And I recognize that I ramble about this, but it comes from a place of just knowing that there's messaging all around that is great messaging, and it needs to be done, and it's amazing. I am not saying that you shouldn't do that. I am saying that if you are of the group of folks who are like me or similar to me, you may be feeling like, hey, I'm good. I can just go to work every day and I can do the things and I enjoy what I do. I love who I work with. I get to go home at night. I feel really good. Then just chill, sit there, have your wait list. It's fine, right? Like, it's totally fine. And I should have said this earlier, do I feel a huge level of guilt in my brain and in my heart sometimes when I'm like, I would love to work with and help all of these people, but I just don't have capacity? Of course I do. Of course I do. I have such a feeling in my body where I'm like, man, I hate that I don't have more capacity, or I hate that I'm not able to help all of these people. But essentially taking from myself and doing something out of my values, that's not going to help them either. That's not going to be reflective of my values, my integrity. And I would never want someone to, I want to say do that for me, right? Like I do believe that at the end of the day, if we're operating out of our values and out of our integrity, anybody would say, I respect that way more than overextending yourself or doing something because you feel like you have to, or doing something out of guilt, right? Like, yes, I have big feelings around the fact that I don't have capacity to help all the folks. Like I do. I have feelings around that. But I have to also be selfish, quote unquote, if we want to talk about it in that way, selfish with the fact that if I were to overextend myself, or if I were to do things that didn't align with my values, at the end of the day, I'm going to burn out and I'm not going to feel good. And then I can't help anybody, or then I'm going to help everybody in a mediocre fashion. And that's not my vibe. That's not my values. That's not where my integrity lies. So at the end of the day, you have to do the things that are best for you. And also that comes down to knowing yourself, knowing your values, knowing you're enough, and really feeling solid in that. Because if you're not solid in that, you're going to feel like you're just kind of bouncing between different opinions and different coaching and, whatever it may be, and different Instagram posts and people you follow, ads you see. You're going to feel like you're just kind of bouncing. And if you're able to have that solid foundation, when you see something like that, you're able to look at it from a lens of like, that's great. good for them, not for me, as I believe that is Amy Poehler. No, it was Tina Fey. Tina Fey said that. Good for them, not for me. And then just like move on. You don't have to sit there and be like, oh man, and really like go through it. And again, it still happens. So you're going to have moments where you're super solid, and then you're going to have moments where you see multiple things within the same hour, and you're going to have this feeling, and then you're going to be able to back down and be like, nah, that's not what I want. That's not my goal. I know my values. I know my goals, and I'm solid in that. And you'll eventually come back down to that. But without having that solid knowing, it can be really tough. And again, I don't want that for anybody. And I can't want that more or less than, I guess, more than you want that for yourself. But at the end of the day, I want people to feel like it's okay to coast, and it's okay to sustain. It's okay. It's a-okay. And if that feels good for you, amazing. You don't have to build a massive empire. You don't have to grow beyond you. You don't have to open up multiple spaces. And if you are that person, if you want that, lean in and do it. I commend you. You're amazing. Like, I lean in. You are that personality type. That is so good. Some folks, like, they thrive in it, and I love that for them. So yeah. I'm not leaning into the business coaching side because it's not what I do, but I do want to just say that doesn't mean that I don't have feelings or I don't have experiences around, the things that are, the things that I see very often, and things that I've felt for a long time. If that resonated with you, I would love to hear from you. I know that there are some folks who text me, or I say text me. Some folks do text me because I'm thinking about one specific person. She'll text me. But some folks will WhatsApp me. Some folks will send me an email, an Instagram DM, and they just, let me know that they listened today and X. And I genuinely love hearing that because, again, I've said it many times before. I am sitting here looking at my computer talking to myself. So if you get something out of this, I always love to hear. And I also love to hear the other side of it. So if you're listening to this and you're like, hey, I have a massive clinic, I have 5 providers plus underneath me, I would love to celebrate you. I would love to celebrate you. I'd love to celebrate folks who are sustaining and have been sustaining forever. I would love to celebrate the growth, in all the ways, right? I would love to. So if you want to reach out, let me know, if this resonated, if this didn't resonate, I'd love to hear from you. All of that just saying, reach out. Sometimes I sit here and I'm like, I think I just said the same thing 5 times, which makes me laugh because it means that I'm not reading off a script. And I'll be honest, guys, I'd be honest, y'all. I have been listening to a couple podcasts, and there are some I start listening to them and I can tell they're so scripted. And we're watching The Morning Show right now. I don't know if you've seen it. It's with Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon. It's great. I shouldn't say it's great. It's really good. The storyline, we're in season 2, and we're watching every night. So it's not like it's not good. We are enjoying it. And it's showing the back end of talk shows and how everything is super scripted. And it just feels so not real to me. And I understand that some folks just need a script because it helps them not go on tangents like me. And some folks need a script because it does help them with not forgetting what they need or not changing topics, what have you. But the ones that I've been listening to, it's more or less, it's not a communication-esque, it's more like a teaching-esque, and it's so scripted. And I actually watched a course, or I invested in a course, and the first module, it was a script. And I was like, oh my God, I don't think I can listen to this. There's no inflection. You can tell the person is they would, if they missed a word, they would go back and redo the whole, it was not my jam. It's just not my jam. I'd love to hear you unscripted. And that's kind of where I'm at, I had a spelling error in a post the other day in one of my slides. And I was like, well, at least they know a robot didn't write it. It's me. There's a spelling error. All right. Anyway, I'm rambling. It's currently 7 p.m. on Saturday. So you'll listen to this in 2 days. And, again, I'd love to hear from you. So That's all I've got for you. 34 minutes. I totally intended for this to be super short. Here we are as always. Thank you so much for listening. I will catch you next time.